morning, Billy. Thank you for joining me after an array of technical difficulties. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Nat. It's a pleasure to be here. Technical difficulties aside, we are both clever. We figured it out.
We did. We won't tell anyone this was our third week of trying, but
Well, we don't say that. No.
but I am very glad that we're finally starting because I've been looking forward to this for ages. So for those of you who are watching, welcome. I'm Nat Rich, the host, and I've invited my friend Billy on. Billy actually has an incredible skill of being able to read people's human design charts. He has been doing it for many years, is, I would say, an expert because that comes with a lot of years, a lot of practice, and a lot of people. And you just have such a zest for life around you when you're talking about it. And I just want to share that. And I know plenty of the people that will be watching this are interested in human design. Some will be thinking, what is human design? So, yeah, would you love to take over and tell us a little bit about it, please?
Of course. What would you like to know? A little bit of the history of human design? What is human design? How about that?
Where it came from, and then a little bit more about kind of what it is and how it can help us.
Sure. So human design is one of these things. I read a term years ago called maps of human consciousness. Okay, there are many maps of human consciousness. Here we are. We are in these bodies. We are human beings. And what the heck is going on here? And there's different systems that do their best to try to explain what is going on. One is astrology. There are other systems, the Enneagram, the chakra system, these different systems that describe things. And human design is one of these maps of human consciousness. It's a modern system that is based upon 4 ancient systems. These ancient systems are astrology, the Hindu chakra system, the Chinese system of the I Ching, and the ancient Hebrew system of the Kabbalah. These 4 ancient systems were synthesized, were combined together just a little over 30 years ago here on the island of Ibiza in Spain, where you and I both live, by a man from Canada who was living here since the early 80s. In 1987, he received a download of information. This is a channel system. Now, personally, I don't know anything about channel systems. I've never channeled anything in my life, but this man, Robert Krakauer was his name. Over the course of about 6 or 7 days in 1987, he received this download of information that he referred to as the keys to human design. He created what he called the Human Design System, HDS. He spent 5 years creating this system from the keys that he learned over these several days, and he started teaching it in 1992. He started teaching in Europe and then in the United States, and it's gotten all over the world since then. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2011, in March 2011, so I never met him. I ran into the system in 2006 in Hawaii. I was living in California at that time. I've been living here on Ibiza for over 10 years. So when I ran into this system, it grabbed me. I had taken a few years off from the technology industry. I have a degree in physics, math, computer science, so I'm kind of a techno nerd and a bit of a skeptic. And when I first heard about astrology many years before that, I had to suspend my disbelief, right? How could time, place, and date of birth tell anything about me? Well, from astrology, it did. And then when I got my first human design reading, as we call it, session in August 2006 in Hawaii with my then wife, we got a reading from a man who was a human design analyst. This is what I am, what we call human design analyst. I immediately was grabbed by this system. I had taken a few years off. I had left the corporate life. And when I saw this, I wanted to learn this, get educated in this, and assist people in this. So I spent years. It's like getting a master's degree. And I became a human design analyst. So I've done many sessions for people. Now, I'll pause there for a moment, then I'm going to tell you these 4 ancient systems just to see if you have any questions of what I've said so far.
Yeah, no, I'm loving it. Keep going.
Okay,
This is why I do this. I just have a cup of tea and just listen.
Fantastic. I already had my cappuccino, so I'm on a roll here. I'm caffeined up. Okay. So the founder of this, when he created the system, the human design system, and started teaching it in 1992, he changed his name from Robert Krakauer to a spiritual name, named himself after the first part of his name, named himself after the Egyptian sun god, Ra, R-A, named himself Ra Uru Hu. And Ra, so I will refer to him as Ra. This is how we refer to him. Unfortunately, I never met him because he passed away in March 2011. I first came to this island in October of that year, fell in love with the island, but never met him. I've heard hundreds of hours of his lectures, so I feel like I know him. I don't. So I'm going to do a little screen sharing here to show you. Let's go here. This is a human design chart or body graph or blueprint, and this happens to be yours.
Yay.
Okay, we're going to talk about you. So,
yay. Go for it.
There are 4 ancient systems, as I mentioned. Let me just spend a couple of minutes taking you through these, giving you the overview of what is this that we are looking at. Now, in astrology, and because I can, I'm just going to do just a quick look-see at one other representation. Here we go. 1 second. I am just going to do one more screen share here. Okay. This, what you're seeing now is a wheel, yes? This is a typical astrological chart. This is my chart. This has nothing to do with human design in terms of its presentation. Ra had to come up with a presentation. And in astrology, we use the wheel. The segments are called houses. We care about the different signs of the zodiac. In human design, we don't care about the signs of the zodiac. What we do care is where were the planets located when you were born. We care about other things. For the visual representation, Ra chose 2 of these 4 ancient systems. And again, because I can, I'm going to do some more screen sharing here.
I love it. I feel like I'm at a school lecture. This is good. Yeah.
Yes, here we go.
The Kabbalah, right?
This is the Kabbalah. When my son and his wife went to Israel a number of years ago for the first time, they brought me this. It hangs on my wall here in my office. This is a Kabbalistic tree of life. I don't speak Hebrew. I don't need to speak Hebrew. And these are centers, energy hubs with interconnecting lines. There are 10 of them. If you remove the bottom one, and I hold it a little closer to the camera, it kind of sort of looks like a human design chart. Okay, so I'll put that to the side and come back to your chart. Now, we call this your chart, your body graph, your blueprint. And there are 9 centers or energy hubs. And in a full session, which we're not going to do today, I'm hitting the high points, but in a full session, which takes me between an hour and a half and 2 hours, when I sit with a person in person or on Zoom, I go through all of these centers and talk about them. So we have the Kabbalah, but we have 9 centers instead of 10. The second system I'm mentioning right now is the ancient Hindu chakra system. And most everybody has heard about the chakra system because of the proliferation of yoga, right? Yeah. We've heard of the chakras, and in the most common of the ancient Hindu systems, there are 7 centers, 7 energy hubs that go up and down the central spine. In this system, one of the keys that Ra received when he received his download of information was that we humans evolved from 7-centered beings to 9-centered beings. This is why we see these 9 geometric shapes. Okay? And these geometric shapes are energy centers. And these energy centers have coloration or not. Doesn't really matter what the color is. You have 4 of the centers that are colored. We refer to these as defined. Okay, more about that in a moment. So we have the chakra system, we have the Kabbalah, we have astrology, where were the planets when you were born, but we don't care about the sign of the zodiac. What we do care about, I'm mousing right here, and you
No.
see on these black numbers where it says 16.4. Now we come to the fourth and final system that comprises human design. This is an ancient Chinese system called the I Ching, or I Ching, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Now, one more visual for you. This is a symbol. This is a hexagram. Hexa, Greek meaning six. This is a hexagram of the I Ching. 6 lines that can be straight or broken. Here's another one. When you have 6 lines that can be straight or broken, you have 64 possible combinations. Back to the body graph, because we always come back to the body graph, the chart, the blueprint. You see numbers that are spread throughout these centers. Where the sun was when you were born in this system activates hexagram number 16. As I hold the mouse there, we see in the throat center, this brown square, there's a circle around number 16 and a black line coming out of it. So in the body graph, I like descriptive terms. In the body graph, we call these numbers gates, because a gate, like a gate in a fence, can be opened or not. Your gate number 16 is open or activated by the position of the sun. At the moment, we're not going to go into the 0.4. That's a line number of the hexagram, but that would be for later if we were doing a full reading. So your gate number 4 is activated by the position of the sun at your birth. These and as I mouse down, there are other gate activations that we see. I move the mouse away. Now we see you have gates that are activated by the positions. Okay.
Yeah, this is really clear explanation. This is like very thorough. I love this. So anybody watching at home, if you've got questions, please put them in the comments, and also Billy will get back to everyone when he can. And if anybody wants a session and go deeper on this, we'll sort of talk at the end.
Absolutely. Happy to do this. So now we have one more thing before we start talking about you, which is we have these numbers in black. These are the hexagrams or the gates that were activated or opened when you were born. What about these lines in red? Okay, this is a complete departure from astrology, because this is another key that Ra received. And what he teaches, you may agree with this, you may not, doesn't matter. But what he taught is that it's also important, in addition to the time, place, and date of birth, where were the planets approximately 3 months before birth?
Okay.
Why? Because, as he said, from conception until approximately 3 months before birth on a full-term pregnancy, that would be about 6 months in utero, the fetus, which is forming and growing, and the organs are forming, and the genetic material is being programmed, mostly by the DNA lines of our parents. Some of it comes from without, but that's another discussion. During these first approximately 6 months, this is not yet a human being, because what Ra understood is that which makes us human, the spirit, the soul, the consciousness, does not take its entry into the body until this 3 months prior to birth point.
Okay.
So we take a data point there.
Yeah.
And if I mouse over the sun at this 3 months prior point, gate number 37 is activated. Gate number 37, we see, as I hold the mouse there, the lower right brown triangle, we see gate number 37 is activated. Okay, I move it away, and an interesting thing happens. You see now down here, we have the brown triangle. This is the emotional center. We have the red triangle. This is the center of willpower, also known as the heart center. These two are connected together via a channel. When we have lines that connect adjoining centers, this forms a channel. And when we have a channel connecting adjoining centers, this switches both of those centers on, gives them coloration, gives them what we call in human design definition. So your emotional center, also known as the solar plexus, your emotional center and your center of willpower are both switched on. They
Okay.
are activated. They are defined. You have access to the energetics of all of the color, the defined systems, 24/7, your whole life. It's like you have a university degree in the qualities of these four centers. The ones that are in white, there's nothing missing. Everybody has everything. But the ones that are in white, not consistent, unreliable access to the information in the undefined centers. This is where
Yeah.
our big life learnings come from. So
Mm-hmm.
this is the explanation of what is human design, where does it come from? This is on a mechanical level, right?
Yeah.
We got into interpretation. We're about
Yeah.
to go there. This is the mechanical level. We have the chart, the
Yeah.
body graph, the blueprint. It consists of centers, which can be defined or have color, or undefined, which are in white.
Mm-hmm.
Every time we see a defined center, it's going to have one or more channels connecting to an adjoining center. So the minimum number of centers you would see in a chart is 2.
Right.
Okay. And they're red, they're black. So any questions about the mechanics before we move into
Not
interpretation?
personally. No, not personally, but again, if anybody at home is watching this and wants to ask a question, feel free to put it into the notes, and we will try to respond when we can. This is not a live session because we've had a few technical difficulties, so this will be going on YouTube afterwards, but we will get back to you. So if you're still watching now and we haven't confused you, keep watching. It gets more interesting.
Okay, so these are the mechanics of human design. Now, every chart looks different. I'm just going to show one other chart, which is mine. There's my chart. Notice that I have 5 centers defined and 4
Yeah.
centers undefined, and Nat has 4 centers defined and 5 centers undefined. Nothing is better, nothing is worse. More defined, less defined. You and I are pretty average. I've done over 1,000 readings for people. I've lost count. And this is more the average chart where 4 or 5 are defined, 4 or 5 are undefined. Okay.
Yeah.
Your chart, Nat, over here in the verbiage side of it, the other side from the chart itself. And when I do a session, after the session, I always send the chart and all of this information to people and then some other information to them. Anyway, there's 2 main things that we talk about. We spend a good percentage of our time in a session of the hour and a half to 2 hours talking about these first 2 things. These are the only 2 I'm going to mention right now, pretty much. Type and strategy. Okay, this is there are 4 types of humans. Everybody is one of 4 types, and each of these types has a strategy. This is the first of the 2 most important things in human design. The second of the 2 most important things in human design is how are we designed to make our decisions. Decision making. In this system, there are 7 possible decision making modalities. Everybody has one primary way they are designed to make their decisions, and none of these have anything to do with the mind. When I heard this, it blew me away. I resonated with this. In this system, in human design system, all decision making, if you get a reading and decide to follow what I teach in human design, if you follow this, decisions come from within the body, not from the mind. So here we go. There are 4 types of humans. Your type we see right here says projector. My type says generator. These are the 2 most common. This center right here, this red, pinkish reddish colored square, we call this the sacral center. Sacral, sacral, potato, however you want to pronounce it. When the sacral center is defined, has color, which it is in about 70% of the population, this is the chart of a generator. When it's undefined, like in your chart, this is something else. Okay, I'm going to do a screen share here to show now the 4 different types in human design. These are the 4 different types. These are the names that Ra gave to the types: manifestor, projector, generator, reflector.
Yeah.
Percentage-wise, as I just said, most everybody is the type we call generator. I'm a generator, 70%. We are the workers. We are the doers. We are the ones who have plenty of energy to get things done here in this life on planet Earth. We are here to work, the doers, the worker bees, whatever you want to call us. And notice it says /MG. There are two subtypes of the type we call generator. The MG stands for manifesting generator, and then plain old generator or pure generator, which is what I am. Generator, manifesting generator, these both have the same strategy. The strategy of the generator, wait to respond. I, as a generator, I'm not here to push things, to chase after things, to try to make things happen. No, I lead my best life from a strategic perspective by letting life come to me from outside of myself, and then take my actions or not in response to what comes to me from outside of myself. This is the strategy of the generator. Okay?
Yeah.
That's 70% of the population. The projector, which is what you are, and by the way, I use these terms because these are the terms that Ra gave, and I respect him. I did not create this system.
Yeah.
He created the system. So I use these terms, but I always explain what I feel are more descriptive terms. Because projector, certainly in the English language, to project onto someone can have negative connotations. The projector is our natural born leader or teacher or guide.
Yeah.
You, the projector, which is about 20 to 22% of the population, you are here to lead or teach or guide the other. I would have called this guide.
Yeah.
Okay. You have certain skills, and this is about 1 in 5 people, roughly 20% of the population. You have skills to be able to guide the other. Your strategy, as it says on your body graph, your strategy is wait for the invitation, wait to be invited. What this really means is it's a two-stage process. You're first waiting to be recognized, Nat, that you are different from the common worker bee generator, from everybody else. You have certain skills to be able to guide the other. You're waiting to be recognized and then to be invited.
Yeah, if I step into anything, unless I'm invited, it doesn't tend to go well.
Exactly. You try to push things or make things happen, it doesn't go so well. But if you wait to be recognized and then invited to guide the other, it typically goes very well. And I'm sure you have many life lessons where you have found this out, right? So now let me be clear on one thing here. For the projector, the guide, this wait for the invitation, first of all, it doesn't have to be a hand calligraphy, gold embossed invitation. No, it could be a simple suggestion, a referral. Hey, why don't you go do this? Hey, Nat, I heard you're looking for a new place to live. I saw a for rent sign down the street. Why don't you go check it out? That's an invitation, a suggestion, a referral. And this is not for everyday things. This is for the big things in life. What are examples of big things in life? What is your career? What are the major projects that you're doing in life? Who is your romantic partner? Who are your friends? Where do you live? These are big things in life. And for the projector, these come best through invitation.
If you can't go back to our faces again a second, just while we're having this conversation on the screen.
Back to our faces, yes.
Back to our faces, just so, because anybody watching that. So I want to just dig a little bit deeper there. In terms of, so for me as a projector, and for anybody else out there that's watching and being a projector, when I first heard this term of projector and I got told that I needed to wait for invitation, it was like a bus had hit me. I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Because the feeling of my information being received is much easier for me to, but basically when I give information and somebody actually wants to hear it and they go and use it, I feel full, I feel satisfied. But sometimes when I've given advice and people have like lent in for it, but not actually asked for it, but they're kind of like manipulating it in some way. And I've given it, it's very rarely used. But then when they really do ask me for it, it's like whatever I say becomes gospel and they use it and they follow it. And it's like, yes. And then there's like a bond, there's like a meeting between the two of us. There's like almost a silent agreement that like, oh, that works for me because I asked for it and then I gave it when they asked for it. It's like a permission slip. And I've really noticed it for the last few years in my life of how to be able to really navigate with this. And it also saves me time and energy of not getting involved, which is what I used to do because I clearly knew the answer. Because the problem that I have as a projector with one of the skills is, which is very difficult, it's been very difficult for me to understand and handle, but I feel like without an ego attached to this, when I say I have a lot of answers, I have a lot of vision, a lot of answers, things are just so logical to me. And I'm like, how did you not know how to do that? But it's all of this information has been around me. So when other opportunities were there for me to be like, oh yeah, you need to do this, and this, it made so much sense for me to just say it because it's obvious. But it really caused a problem with many things because also what I'm saying, when it's obvious, it's true. And if you don't want to hear what's true, it can be very uncomfortable. So I didn't know how to deliver my truth. I didn't know the truth. I didn't know how to say it. I didn't know how to, like own my part in it. I didn't know when to say it. It was like everything and it caused me so many problems. So understanding this, if you're a projector at home and if you've got the wait for the invitation part, honestly, my nervous system is so much more calmer because I know now when I give my information, it's used and it's asked for. The rest, I'm like, it's not my bag, it's not my stuff. And it's changed my life. So I just wanted to go into a little bit more detail about that, just to emphasize that. Listening to your projector, your human design and watching for this when you have a session with Billy, it saves us so much overwhelm and stress. So I just wanted to just put that there and you can now carry on.
Thank you for sharing that, because I'm not a projector. I'm a generator. I'm the worker. I'm the doer. It doesn't mean, well, there's a saying in human design for the projector, which I tell projectors during our sessions, you're not here to work.
I know.
You're here to do what you love. And if that entails working, quote unquote, great. But you're here to do what you love. You're not the worker bee. You're not like the generator. We're the ones who are here to work. Or I used to say, it's a good thing we got 70% generators, because with billions of people on the planet, we are now officially over 8 billion people on this planet. Good thing 70% are the workers, the doers, because we need that many just to keep things going here on planet Earth. Mm-hmm. You're not here to work. The projector is here to do what they love, and ideally, doing what they love includes guiding the other, leading the
service,
teaching the other, being of service and guiding the other. And not everyone is going to recognize you.
I know.
Only those the ones who see you and recognize you, these are the ones who are going to invite you in. Mm-hmm. So pay attention to that. And thank you for sharing. It's great to hear from a real live projector. What is your experience in life? Thank you.
Thank you. You can go back to the chart now.
Well, that's what I wanted to say in terms of these two types. Just for completeness, I'm going to mention briefly these other two types. Yeah. But then we're going to come back to you, because we need to talk about the second most important thing, which is your decision making. Mm-hmm. Okay. The reflector type. This is only about 1.2% of the population. The chart of the reflector is all white. Mm-hmm. There are no defined centers, meaning there are no channels. There's just hanging gates, no connected lines. What happens in the body graph, by the way, when we look at the undefined centers, these undefined centers act like energetic sponges, automatic energetic sponges that soak in the energies of people around us. The ones that are defined, your 4 defined centers, there's some fixity, there's some programming there. You're not so affected by the energetics of the defined centers as you are by the undefined centers. A
Mhm.
reflector chart, all white. These
Wow.
people don't have anything fixed or reliable within their beingness that is consistent or reliable. So they are constantly being affected by other people around them. The
Mm.
strategy of the reflector, wait the cycle of the moon.
Mm.
29 and a half days, because in in a lunar cycle, the moon travels through all 64 of the gates. And temporarily, as it goes through them, some things form channels, and maybe the reflector gets a clue in a month of what to do, particularly for big things in life. So
Mhm.
that's the strategy of the reflector. There's a common theme here between these three. Projector, wait to be invited. Generator, wait to respond. Reflector, wait the cycle of the moon. Common theme, wait, wait, wait. Wait
Patience.
for something outside of themselves
Yeah.
before taking their actions. Manifestor type, no waiting involved. 9 to 10% of the population statistically. The manifestor is the only one of these four types that literally gets inner guidance. They know what to do, what they want or need to do moment to moment to moment.
See,
Inner guidance.
it's so weird if we come back to the screen again for us. It's so weird that a lot of people that know me and who have known human design always think that I'm a manifester, because I do know what to do and I have the answers and things when I want something, it comes. And what is the essentially the reason?
Okay, that's a very good question, because now we get into a little bit of semantics, okay?
Yeah.
And by the way, manifestor term, I wouldn't have used that term, because
Okay.
to manifest implies creating something out of nothing. It's one of the definitions of this term. I would have called it initiator.
Okay.
These are people who get inner guidance, and they know how to initiate, how to start things from within themselves, not waiting to respond or waiting for an invitation for something outside of themselves. So that's the first place I want to go to get clear on your question here.
Mhm.
So, initiator or not. Okay, doesn't mean that I, as a generator, with my strategy, wait to respond. You, as a projector, your strategy, wait for the invitation. Doesn't mean we don't initiate things, but the difference is your initiating and starting things comes best from your responding to an invitation.
Okay, so I can still do those things, but it would work better with probably less stress and flow easier if I just waited for the invitation, because that would be my cue to go. Okay, so this is where I can get in my own way and manifest things that I don't really need. Okay. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. You
Got
got
it. Tick.
yay. So now you as the projector, me as the generator, we are not supposed to say yes to everything that comes to us, you by invitation, me by waiting to respond. How do we decide what to say yes to, what to take action on? Now we come to the second most important thing in human design. This is, to me, just as important as type and strategy. And the decision making. I mentioned at the beginning, there are 7 different decision making
Mhm.
modalities. Everybody has one of the 7. None of them have anything to do with the mind. Now we're going to look at another slide, which tells a lot. This is a slide that we call authority. Authority in Ra's terms means, what are we designed to give authority to within our being, within our body, literally? What are we designed to give authority to for our decision making? This is a bar graph, obviously. And this is what we call in English a hierarchical bar graph. It takes priority from left to right. At the top of each of these bars are center names.
Mhm.
And percentages are the approximate percentages of the population that are designed to make their decisions in the modality of these centers. So we go left to right. Solar plexus or emotional center is the first one. Sacral is the second one. These two together comprise about 83% of the population. Let's look at your chart. Here is the sacral, excuse me, this is the solar plexus. Again, I like the descriptive term. This is the center of emotionality. Yours is defined. And about 50% of the population, doesn't matter male or female, has defined solar plexus, center of emotionality, meaning 50% not. So this is where you and I differ in type. We also differ in whether our emotional center is defined or not. Mine is undefined, yours is defined. So back to the bar graph, we stop right here, going from left to right in terms of your main decision-making modality. Because you have the emotional center defined, we stop right there, and I'm going to explain what this means. And to be complete here, in my chart, I don't have this one defined. We go to the next one. Is the sacral center defined? Yes, it is. I'm a generator. I have sacral inner authority.
Right.
What these two things mean in terms of how we make our decisions, I'll go away from the slide so we can see each other now. You make your best decisions as an emotionally defined being by taking your time, because your best decisions come from how do you feel, not what you think. Nobody in this system makes decisions based upon the mind, but how do you feel? You're an emotionally defined individual. Your natural state of being with this emotional definition, whenever you look inside to experience what's happening emotionally, if you're typical, let's see if you resonate with this. Whenever you look inside to experience what's happening emotionally, there is always some emotion that you feel. Always. And these emotions, they go up, they go down. Good mood, bad mood. Your moods are always changing. They're always shifting, and they're always present. Yes, there's always some mood going on. Sometimes surf's up. There's big waves. There's big things going on emotionally. Sometimes the emotional sea is fairly flat, right? But there's always some motion, some wave motion, we like to call it in wave mechanics, of your emotions. True? This is what you feel?
It is. And if you spoke to, I think if you spoke to people who knew me 15 years ago, they'd be like, oh my God, yeah, she's like bipolar almost, because I was so emotional. When I started getting into meditation and stopped drinking and doing the drugs and everything else, I realized that the less said, the better. And what I mean by that is I used to engage everyone in how I felt, and then my story would be alive for a long time. So even if my emotions had changed really quickly and off they went, my friends would still be held and my family would still be held in the emotion that I plugged them with, like, before with the conversation. So I could never get away from my own drama. So when, like now, most of my friends would tell you that, like, that's consistent all the time. Like I'm consistently, and it's not that I don't feel anything. It's I don't tell everyone how I'm feeling all the time, because I know it will change within a matter of short space of time. So rather than reacting, I now respond internally, which has saved my friendships. It saved my life. It saved everything around me, because I fluctuate and change so much. And it's like, I don't need to inspire the rest of the world with my changes, because it gets messy. So less said, the better. And doing it internally means that I do look like a duck on the water that's absolutely fine, but underneath I've got Flintstone feet that are like,
yeah. So thank you for sharing that. You and I represent the whole population. You represent your half of the population, statistically roughly half, emotionally defined. I represent emotionally undefined. So thank you for sharing that, because for me, emotionally undefined, my natural state of being when I'm not around anyone who's influencing me, or the planets aren't triggering my emotional center, my natural state of being is emotionally still, flat. Okay? This is a state of being that you and your half of the population will never know in this lifetime. This completely flat. Okay? yes, you've learned to, I'll use my word, you didn't use this, but you've learned to control your emotions. You've learned to deal with your emotions. This comes with experience in life on planet Earth. But the point is, for decision making, you are emotionally defined. And your best decisions come from how do you feel, which takes time, particularly for big decisions in life. All of my emotionally defined clients, you are now one of my clients, we're doing a session. I always advise my emotionally defined clients, whenever possible, if you don't need to make a quick in the moment decision, sleep over it as a minimum, because how you feel about a decision today might be very different than how you feel about it tomorrow. Generally speaking, you're not designed to make quick decisions. So whenever possible, at least sleep over it. And for big decisions in life, you know, what are big decisions that people are consider in life? You know, who is someone's friend? Who is your romantic partner? Who are you going to work for? Or if you're an employer, who works for you? Who are you going to hire? Where are you going to live? Where are you going on a 6-month trip? These are big things in life. Take your time. And it could be overnight, it could be days, weeks, months, in some cases, years before that clarity comes. You're not looking for certainty. Certainty is a mental concept. You, as the emotionally defined individual, for making your decisions, you're looking to be clear, for the emotions to have calmed down. And when the clarity comes, that's the time to make the decision. And in the end, whether it's been overnight or months, you feel into your emotions. Okay, I've been up and down and all around with my emotions. I feel I want to do this. You do it. I feel I don't want to do this. You don't do it. You take your time to make your decisions.
Yeah, I wait for like a whole body full feeling, which can, like you say, take a while. I want that full body yes to do something, and I feel it in my arms. So if I'm making a decision like about the project that we're working on here in Ibiza, that feeling, it was offered to me. So this essentially, I can't say too much online because we're not there yet, but this project was offered to me, and so I was invited, and I was like, not really sure, seems a bit big, and then left it. And it's taken me almost a year to come back to it and be like, oh, so the offer's still there, and now I can feel it in my arms. And that's when I know that's like a full body feeling. My body feels grounded, my arms feel excited, and I'm like, ready. But it's taken me a year.
Now, what you just described, you are living your design. Okay? From a decision-making perspective, from a strategic perspective, you are to summarize here, you are what we call in human design terms, the terms Ra gave, you are a solar plexus defined projector. In my terms, you're an emotional guide, an emotional projector. This tells me and anybody who knows human design, what is your strategy and how you're designed to make your decisions. Excuse me, sorry. What you just described in terms of your decision making is living your design. Because we can either live our design, and be our true self as we're designed to be, or we can fight against that and live our conditioned self or not self, make decisions from the mind. Nobody does this. Okay. My decision making, just for our listeners to have a complete perspective here, I and about 1/3 of the population am what we call a sacral generator, sacrally defined generator, meaning I'm not emotionally defined. I am designed to make my decisions quickly in the moment based upon my sacral center, that second center from the bottom, that second chakra, if you will. That is a response mechanism. That center has a voice. In fact, let's just have a quick look so everybody's clear here. My chart of a generator, defined sacral center. There are 2 centers in this body graph that speak, that have a voice. One is quite obvious. It's the throat, center of speech and communication. The other one that's not so obvious is the sacral. The sacral has a voice. And I love this English language expression, gut response, because this is the sacral. The sacral, For all generators, it's defined, it's consistent and reliable. Whenever I am given making a decision that is a binary decision, yes or no, I receive a question that has a yes or no answer. It's my response mechanism, my defined sacral that sits in my gut and goes first response, either uh-huh or uh-uh.
Mm-hmm.
This is the vocabulary of the sacral for the generator. This is the vocabulary. 2 words, uh-huh or uh-uh, pre-language sounds. There's a third response, which is no clear uh-huh or uh-uh in the moment. I don't know yet. Okay. Yeah. I don't make my decisions until I get the clear uh-huh, uh-uh. My design is to be a quick decision maker before my thoughts come, before any emotions come, before anything. First response in the gut. If I, to a yes or no question, if I get a uh-huh, it's a yes, I do it. I get a uh-uh, it's a no, I don't do it. Very different. And
come to your screen again for a second so we can see you talking.
Thank you. Keep guiding me here. I love it.
No, it's good. And I know what it's like when I have this like little feeling of like screen, and it's just like change it, because I feel like other people will be like, I want to see what this guy's saying, but they want to see.
And for those of you watching, I am controlling the screen sharing here. So Nat has to guide me and remind me when to turn the screen off and come back to the video of the two of us. Okay. Where was I? I was talking about decision making.
Yeah.
And
we've got about 10 minutes or so left, I think.
Great. So to know myself that I'm a quick decision maker, for you to know yourself that you're designed not to be a quick decision maker, but to wait for the emotions, how valuable that is for ourselves and how valuable that is to know about the other. Okay? Because we're social beings, we interact with other people. Just knowing this, that my friends, people I interact with, just knowing whether they're emotionally defined or not, whether they're not quick decision makers or they are, now that I know your chart and I know of all my close friends and loved ones and family members, I know their charts. I know my son, for example, is a quick decision maker. I can expect quick responses from him. I know my daughter-in-law is emotionally defined. I won't expect quick responses from her. I will give her time to make the decisions. How great this is for parents for their children, right? I mean, I love doing family readings, particularly for younger kids, who are just a few years old and they start making their decisions. How wonderful it is for the parents to know their emotionally defined child before they come down for breakfast. Okay, honey, maybe the kid's 5 years old. They're making their decisions. You're gonna have a choice this morning of scrambled eggs or oatmeal. Feel into it, and when you come downstairs, let me know which one you want. Give them time. For the undefined emotional kid, immediate answer, particularly if it's a sacral generator. Hey, do you want eggs? Do you want oatmeal? Quick decisions. To know this about others, our coworkers, anybody.
Yeah, this is the thing I want to do with the whole project with I Am Sound and the venue is for the core team. We're doing the astrology for the core team once a month, and then I want to do human design. So I want to get everyone read so we all know where everyone is. So you will be reading for the team.
Thank you. Absolutely. I've done this. I've done this in corporate for a nonprofit in the States. Once they had me come in. There were 5 of them on the management team. 4 were emotionally defined. 1 was emotionally undefined. So I consulted with them for a couple of hours about how they could best work together. And bottom line, in terms of decision making, hey, you guys as a management team, when you have time, take your time and you're going to talk about it. And everybody's going to share their feelings about the decision. But if you need to make a quick decision, defer to her.
Yeah.
She's the undefined emotional. She's capable of giving you the
Yeah.
So as we only have a few more minutes, these are the main things I wanted to talk about, which is strategy and decision-making authority. What else would you like to know? How else can I
More
share with me.
not really about me, although my ego loves it. But no, it's not really about me today. So I'm just thinking in terms of like, so for your skills, for people who are watching this, if they want to reach out to you and they want to see what they can use this ancient system, not a modern system, should I say, this modern system, how they can use it. So it works great within families. I'm assuming it obviously works great within partnerships, within couples.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you can help, if you've got a little bit of a communication problem, or you're struggling in some way, or you'd like to be a little bit more closer than you are. I'm guessing the intimacy about learning each other's patterns here and each other's traits, it would be very interesting, and each other's blueprint. So we've got family, couples out there, the work environment for people to understand their colleagues. I'm using it with my team. I've got a very beautiful team. Everyone's fabulous and they're all experts, but they all come from very different ways of dealing and communicating. So me being an expert in communication, I'm happy to deal with that. But when they're dealing with each other, there's going to need to be a grounding. There's going to need to be an understanding of each other on a different level, which I'm using you for. So team wise, it's fantastic. And I think also, just to understand yourself more, I haven't gone into I did with a guy called Lippy years ago, but it was a long time ago. And Lippy is a wonderful character. And Lippy, if you've ever watched this, I don't know where you've gone, but yeah, it was a very short, sharp, quick reading. But I really want to go deeper into mine at some point, because to understand more about me, because it's helped me so much to understand waiting for the invitation, to understand where I'm at. I don't need to make quick decisions. That is huge for me. It's just come off the I've gone back. You're looking at something here.
So I've just switched back to your chart as you were talking there, just to give the overview. So yes, in a reading, we go into strategy and decision-making authority. We also go through all of the centers, and I describe what does it mean to have a center defined or undefined? What are the gifts? What are the traps, possible traps of having each of these 9 centers defined or undefined? We talk about that. We talk about this thing called profile. Your profile is 4-6. These are the line numbers of the hexagram of the I Ching. There's 12 profiles. We talk about that, how you move, how you operate, how you take your actions, how other people perceive you. This is talked about with profile. We talk about this thing called definition, right? You have 2 groups of centers. You have these 2 centers, the emotions and the heart center connected together. That's one group. You have the throat center and the center raw called the G center, sense of self-identity. Is it fixed or not? Yours is a fixed sense of self-identity. This is one group of centers. This is another group of centers. Your definition is what we call split. There's 4 kinds of definition. We talk about that and how that is of value to you to know. And then we talk in a couple's chart or family chart or any connection chart. For example, just to give your viewers one more visual here, this is what a connection chart looks like. And this is the connection chart of you and me.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Never seen
this.
This
is like if you printed both of our charts on a white piece of paper, put one on top of the other, hold it up to the sunlight. This is what you see. Wow. And in this connection chart, we then talk about many additional things. For example, neither you nor I as individuals have these top 2 centers defined. This is the thinking process. But electromagnetically, you and I have the 23 gate, you have the 43 gate. You and I can talk about things all day long, intellectual things, inspire each other with great ideas and concepts and easily verbalize them. That's because of this electromagnetic channel of structuring, channel of the wavelength. Also, we have this one. This is the channel of talent. This is learning how to do new things. You and I would be great partners learning to do new things together. These kinds of things I see in a connection chart and a lot more. So that's what a connection chart looks like.
Yeah, that is perfect. I didn't even know you could do that. So that's blowing my mind. I'm like, all my friends that are in relationship, I'm just going to be like, oh, just go and see Billy and stop calling me and asking me what I think or what you should do. It's like, go and figure yourselves out. Because I think that understanding on a deeper level is, we're in a new space right now. We're in a very weird and wonderful world in many ways, but it's the contrast of good and bad, right and wrong, heavy and light. is so big right now. I think learning, the only thing we can do really in order to stabilize ourselves is to learn more about ourselves and to go inwards and not to be looking outside. So systems like this, I think, are so valuable for us to be able to understand ourselves on a deeper level and to be able to give ourselves a break. You know, me knowing that I need to be invited, I used to feel very, if someone didn't invite me, I'd be like, oh, God, it's like being rejected. But actually, sometimes, I'm not meant to go to these things, and it's only my ego that wants to go. So learning that I don't need to go to every event, and I can stay at home quite comfortably, and the right things I'll be invited to, and I can take my time and choose. Oh, I'm living in such a different space, in a different way in my life. And so I highly recommend you, Billy. I mean, I've loved today of you going a bit deeper. You're such a clear communicator and a solid teacher, and I can't wait to work with you in more capacity. But this has been really interesting for me today.
Thank you, Nat. This has been such a pleasure. I'm so passionate about this. I've been into this over 17 years. And whenever I sit down with someone online or in person and I do a session like this, oh my God, you sense my excitement, my joy. And the main bottom line reason here, yes, it's my profession. Yes, I make money doing this. But the main reason I do this is to serve other people in understanding themselves better. Back to what we started with, this to me is the most effective map of human consciousness that I've ever encountered in my life. I love explaining it. I love seeing people's faces when they have their aha moment. And maybe it's a brand new aha moment, or maybe it's just confirmation of something they already figured out. I love doing this. I'm passionate about it. I look forward to working with you together for many years to come.
Yay, this is what I want to hear. I'm in a space where I'm so excited by life at the moment, having been given an invitation and accepted it, and building a team and bringing everyone together, experts like yourself, and in many other modalities and many other areas. I do have a talent of seeing cool people, meeting crazy cool people that are just on the edge, that are absolutely fascinating. And then everyone's like, how did you meet that person? I'm like, I don't know. And then I bring them in and everyone's like, oh my God. So I love to open up the door for other people that I know to get more clients, to understand and to explain what they know, because for me, it's really important. Somebody said to me the other day, why do you want a reality show? Why do you want to have yourself filmed and doing what you're doing? And I said, it's not about me. It's about the people that I meet. Because if people could see who I meet and who I have in my network and how amazing people really are, they'd have as much faith in humanity as I do. And that's what I feel that we're missing in the world right now, is faith in humanity. We're a little bit disheartened. We're like, what's going on? But the more times I can show people like yourself and the fabulous people that I have around me, the happier it makes me. It's being of service. And you guys, what you do with people is a gift. So I'm very honored to have you in my network.
Thank you. I'm happy to share my gift.
Yay. So for anyone else at home, if you've watched all the way to the end, thank you, first and foremost. We had to do it on a Zoom call rather than straight to YouTube today, but technical difficulties. But I believe it's gone well, and you moved through your slides quite well, Billy, so thank you for supporting. If anybody wants to ask any questions, you can drop your questions into the comments below. You can also reach out to me. My email address will be in the notes section, and also direct contact with Billy there as well for sessions. And I think you can get a lot out of having a session. So they can be done online and also in person. If you want to come to Ibiza and you fancy traveling, get a tan at the same time, please do. We welcome you. And until next time, Billy, thank you very much.
Thank you, Nat. This is great. Thanks so much.
You got the